Howdy folks, I've been having people ask a few questions and stuff about how to play Battletech using open terrain. It's really simple. It's basically using the same rules that you have with the standard game, using hex maps, but with a little bit of changes. And I'm just going to show you how our group usually does it. It's pretty simple. You're just going to need a few items like a basic ruler or a tape measure, like anything that you're going to find with your typical standard miniature game. You're going to need some dice, type of thing. We usually use a lot of different dice. You have some different colored dice, usually some larger ones for helping little aids. I have a laser pointer that gives you a true line of sight, which is really handy when you're looking at what crosses a line between stuff that you can measure, that kind of stuff. Now, it's pretty rudimentary, but if you've never done it and you spend all your life playing on hex maps, playing Battletech, and you don't know how to do it, it's really simple. Now, what I'm going to show you here is go through like the start off of a turn. You know how it works. You roll for initiative. Say the green side is going to roll a 4, or the other side, the brown side, rolls a 9. So they're going to go have the initiative. So they're going to force the green side, which is these guys right here, these 4 mechs, to initiate their movement first, which allows the brown side to be moving last. Now, the brown player is going to look at it and goes, okay, I'm going to look at this and go, alright, my mech here is sitting like that, and I want to go, it's 4 inches to here. That's 4 inches, down one hillside. That's 5. Right now he's at, right before I even get started, let me do this. Get ahead of myself. I always like to take a single die and put it exactly right behind my mech. That's the back side, so I know the starting point of it. So I'm going to measure out, and it's 4 inches to here. So I measure 4 inches. I made one go down, use one movement point to go down the hill, so that's 5. That allows me, since he's a 6'9", I still have 4 inches of movement left, and we consider this like a light wood hex. So it's going to cost me 2 for each one to go through. I can go to here. That is 2 more inches for a total of 6. Alright, so he ran with 6 inches, and that's going to be a 2 modifier. That's why I've talked about in one of my other videos, I put a white die that's a run. Put it next to the mech. So when everybody looks at that mech, it's like, okay, he's ran, and he has a 2 modifier, and he's in the wood hex, so that's going to cost somebody an extra 1 or 2 of fire going at it. Now, alright, the brown player's got to do something. He's looking at it and goes, okay, I'm going to take my yellow die here, put it right behind my mech, and that's alright. It is 4 inches to get into this wood hex right here, or I can run forward. Since that's a 4-6 mover, I can go to here without getting in the woods, because it's 5.5 to get to the woods there. So I would look at it and go, okay, do I want to be in the woods, or do I want to be get the modifier? Or I can go over here, since this is a level 1 building, I can get some partial cover. So what I'm going to do is do 1 hex facing to get to here. That's 1 movement point. There's 4 to get to here. And then that is a movement modifier of 3, but that's a run. So he only went 4 hexes or 4 inches. So I'm going to put he's a ran and a 1 modifier right there. But for any fire that comes in from this direction, from here to here, from there to there, will be in partial cover. So that's going to give him a little bit of extra. Now it goes back to over here. This guy that's in the Jenner is looking, okay, I'm going to activate the Jenner. So I'm on a 7-11. It's going to cost me 1 movement point to get down that hill. So I can go 10 hex or 10 inches. So I'm going to go 10 to here. Didn't put it there because I knew exactly where I'm going. That was a 10 modifier. That was a run, but that's a 4. So I got a 4 there. So he has a +4 modifier. Now, if we did look back to where he was sitting, since that was 10, it would have been right there. It would have cost, you look at it from this direction, it was 10 to get there. He could not get into the wood hex at all. So doesn't matter. So right there is the best he can get. So it goes back to these guys. Shadowhawk player looks at this and goes, okay, I can jump 3 or I can move 8. What do I want to do? So he's going to put himself right here. Make a facing turn. Now a facing turn when you're using open terrain can be a complete one side movement like you do in Battletech, or it can be a slight turn, not a complete movement change. Alright, so he's going to go here. That is 5 to here. That is total of 6 movement, which is going to be a run for him. So he has a 2 modifier, but that's going to put him touching his base. So he has the potential, if he wants to shoot at him, he's going to have some modifiers with this stuff, but he could shoot elsewhere with a torso twist. But he can also try to kick this guy if he wants to, looking at the modifiers when the chance. So it's kind of giving himself some options. Alright, the old green player is going to look at this and goes, okay, I see that he's not moved yet and he hasn't moved yet. I'm not too worried about the locust. He doesn't have a lot of firepower. This guy hasn't moved, but he has a couple LRM-15s. That could be a problem. So he's going to look at, where's the die? Right. So he puts his die out there, right there. And he's going to figure this out. So he has a 6 movement. It's going to cost him 1 to come off the hill and 1 to go into the water. So that's going to cost me 2. That would put me 4 to right here. Right there. Alright, that's... Okay, so... That's 4, 5, 6. Okay. 4 right there. Alright, so he's in the water, so he has to make a pilot check to go into the water, and he's not a problem. He rolls an 11, so he's good. So, but he only moved 3. He ran to get there, so that's only a 1 modifier, but he's in water. Okay, so that's like being partial cover, so he's going to have any leg hits if you get shot. If anybody decides to shoot him, we'll hit the water instead. Alright, so it goes back to this player over here. So he's looking at it, it's like, okay, do I want to use the locust? I'm thinking this is my missile boat back here. I'm going to go use this guy right now to just figure out where I want to go. And I am looking at my options. I could move to here, put myself behind this building to get some partial cover from anything that direction, or I can try to come up and cause some havoc to this commando right there. Now it's 9 inches to get to right there from that direction, and he's a 8-12, so if that's 9 to there, that still leaves him 3 to make a turn, or even make a turn and try to get into the woods. So he is not completely angled that direction, so he's going to have to make a turn. So he make a slight turn. There's 1. That leaves him 9, so that's 10 to here, 11, 12. So that could put him right point blank range in the woods with a total movement of 10. Okay, let's go that. you know, that was from the front. 9. So that would be a 3 modifier. So that's a run 3. Well, there we go. But he's in the woods, so he's going to have a 4 modifier with a light woods. So if this guy right here decides to shoot over here, he's going to have basically 2 wood hexes to shoot through. And most likely with that Orion, he's going to pick a target that's going to be a little easier over here. Now that leaves this locust player left, and he's like, okay, I can run 12. 12, 11 would put me, I'd have to go around that building, so I think I'm going to harass this guy this direction. So we'll put our die down to right here, represent where the back is in case I have to put it back into place. Alright, there's 7. Alright, let's do a slight turn. There's 1. To get off the hill is 3. There's 4 inches. There's 5. 6 right there. That leaves me 6 more inches left to move. I can go straight to right here like that. That would put me within an inch, so that's short range, but I want a total of 10, so that's going to be a 4 modifier. That's the nice thing about these fast little movers. So right there. So that's kind of like what I would do. Now the trebuchet, the tree bucket, he's looking at it, go, okay, I'm a 5'8", I can move up over here to get behind this building, or else I could move around, or I could just park myself. Oh, let me check the ranges first. He's at medium range, he's at medium range, and he's going to be at long range. I can't see him. Alright, so I might just do this. I'm going to 6 this guy. Put a green, because the green means that's walking, and a green 6 means I'm not moving anywhere, and he's going to be parked behind partial cover. So he's going to have a 1 modifier, anybody shooting at him, because of the angle of that building right there, because that's a level 1 building. So now that's what you're looking at. Everybody has moved. You move into the phase, torso twist, figure out where your targets are, where you're going to go. So the Shadowhawk, he's looking at it going, okay, I got a 4 or a 3 modifier there. He's going to torso twist this direction, and he's going to fire at the Shadowhawk is going to fire at the commando. Now let me look at the range here. Let's get down here. You look at and measure the range. The actual range is 7 1/4. 7 1/4 is a little over 7. So the end result is going to be you have to round up, because it's not complete hexes. Before, when you're playing with a hex board, you're just going measuring out number of hexes you have. But in this case, you don't have that option, so you have to round up. So 7 1/4 is going to be 8. So he's sitting at 8 hexes away from here to here. All right. So 8 away would be, you're looking at everything is going to be medium and long range. So in that case, that's a +2 modifier to that target. It's already a +3. That's +5. So if he's a 4 gunner, he's looking at 9s already. Alright. He ran. He's going to need 11s just to shoot at that guy. Let's just keep that in mind. If he's already towards the twist. Now if he looks at the modifiers, he's at short range here. Because he's an inch away. He could, since he torso twists, make him the primary and then the secondary target with his short range stuff, like his medium laser. Alright, let's just look at that for a second. So in that case, he's a 4, let's say a 4 gunner, 4 8 secondary target, 9. So he's better off shooting a medium laser as a secondary target at him and firing the long range stuff or medium range with the autocannon and the LRM. So SRM and medium laser here, and then you could do the autocannon LRM at that target. That's the kind of thing you look at. But that's where you're looking at ranges, how they modify it. Now, this guy here, he's going to shoot at the Shadowhawk. Let's just look at the range. Shadowhawk is 11.5 inches. 11.5 would be round up to 12. So that's 12 hex, or 12 hex considered if it's a board map, or 11 inches. All right. So 11 inches, the LRM is going to be medium range, and you're also looking at the same thing with the autocannon. All right. Now he does have some short range stuff. So let's look at a secondary target here, which is 5.5, which would be 6, which is going to be medium range if it fires medium laser. Now he's sitting in a wood hex, and there is some little bit of woods in between it. So if you look at line of sight, bring up the line of sight right here, there is at least 1 inch of woods in between them. So that's going to be 2 light wood hexes. So you're going to have some modifiers there. All right. And then this guy, he will fire here at the commando there, or you could fire here. So he's probably going to go shoot here. So he's looking at medium range there. Medium range, that's a 6. He did move, so let's say a 4 gunner. So 4, 8, 10. The LRMs are going to need a 10 here or here, either or. So your odds are he'll pick the locust. Shoot the locust because it's the lighter arm target and it has less armor. You could say the same thing about the Jenner, so either or. Since you might be picking more of a target here, since he's firing here, he'll fire there. Okay. And then you look at, because when you're playing this game, concentrate on targets. The more you concentrate on a target, the more you're going to hurt them. Because you're looking mass fire. If you can take one target out of the entire game, do it. Now this Vindicator, he's going to be shooting here. That is 4 3/4, so it rounds up to 5. So he's 5 hexes away. So he's looking at short and medium range. And let's say that would do it for there. Now, let's say these two here will pick on the Shadowhawk just for the fun of it. So they're both at short range for all their weapons here. So obviously their best targets to shoot here. The Commando's best target to shoot this Locust because it's right adjacent to it. It's going to be short range modifiers, and obviously this Orion will shoot the Shadowhawk. So we got 3 targets on a Shadowhawk. He's going to fire here because that's his best shot because he has nothing but short range weapons. So you look at your weapon systems. So that's pretty much everything in a nutshell, how I would deal with everything. Now, there's a couple other things. Let's just throw some stuff in here to change things up a little bit. Let's grab one of these buildings that I have just for sitting offside and about ready to paint. Kind of reset things a little bit here. Alright, so we have this, say a building sitting there. And then this Vindicator sitting right here. And then you got this Commando sitting right here. Now, you look at it, line of sight. Let's bring out the laser pointer. This Vindicator, his right side weaponry can see the Commando, or he can see this Orion. Now this Commando can see just the right side of the Vindicator. Now this is kind of a house rule. You can play it this way if you want to, but if you're looking at, it's a partial cover. So if, say that Orion's not there, you can't, or he's not there, and these are only 2 things that can shoot at each other, they can shoot at each other. Alright, but the Vindicator is going to take partial cover because he's within an inch of this building. So since he's within an inch, the Commando could shoot there, and the result is the Vindicator will have a +1 modifier because of partial cover, and since this is a house rule for us, any hits that hit the left side of the Vindicator will hit the building. It's the same as like you're behind partial cover behind a building or a hill, level 1, where the shots will hit the legs. We work it so it's partial cover on a side. Alright, you can play it that way. So it's putting a little more realism into your game. Okay? So you can look at it that way. Now, I think another thing, let's say we go to another turn, and this, say we remove the die and everything, and let's just pull these off for a second, and just kind of reset it for, let's say we got a new turn going on. This building sitting right there. We measure the building, it's a level 4 building. The Shadowhawk, he's a 583. It takes him, he could jump, it will take him 3 of his jump just to get there. So the Shadowhawk could not get on top of the building. This Vindicator, since it's a level 4 building, he could jump up to the top of the building. And then he would use a red die. Since he only moved a couple inches, he'd still be a red 6, but he's put the red there. That shows that, yes, he jumped, so he's going to have a modifier for shooting a jumped target, but he's also showing that he jumped, so he's going to have a 3 modifier for himself shooting. Now, the Jenner could get up there too. So it's within the 5. He's within 5, so he could jump. If this Vindicator was up there, let's say he jumped up there, and this Jenner decides he's going to do a death from above on top of the building of the Vindicator that's parked up there. He could do that. Not that doing a death from above is a great idea, but you can do it. So then if he did that, he would put, since he's going to do a DFA over there, so we just kind of put him up there, and he would have a modifier red 2. So that shows that he's up there and he's doing a DFA. Alright, so if anybody wants to shoot at him, shows that he's a jump and he has a 2 modifier. Alright, so that's kind of pretty much everything in a nutshell, how we deal with a lot of stuff. Like for terrain and everything, let's just kind of take a quick look at that. Is, let's say this little my little terrain marker I got right here, this wood, it's a small template, light woods. You see this large template right here, this one right here, that's a large wooded area. I could call that a heavy wooded area. Alright, and then we got the little river things that I made. We could call that, you know, that's like a level, through here, that's a one submerged level lower. Small buildings like this would be a level 1 buildings. These are level 1 buildings because obviously the mech can see over top of it. Now I do have some of these elsewhere that I don't have them out, but they're level 2 buildings that will cover an entire mech. Now, even if you look at the models per se, you have some models that actually would be next to a building, and let's say this is a little bit higher. That could be a level 2 to this guy, unless you say it otherwise. Then you get some of these other mechs, like larger guys that would tower over it. They could see over it, so. But it's always better to just say this is level 1 buildings, these are level 2 buildings, so before the game even starts. So hopefully this will help people out in figuring out how to play the game a little better, give them an idea what I'm always talking about in some of my videos. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will talk with you later. Hellcrex out.